So in today's video, I'm going to be engraving on this 40-ounce tumbler. It's not a Stanley brand, it's one of those unbranded ones. And then the first step would be removing the handle. Next, I'm going to be bending the prongs downwards. This is just so that the lacer doesn't eat the handles. So I like to bend the prongs this way, and a couple of times when I was engraving tumblers, I ran into issues with the distance measuring tip eating the prongs. So want to make sure this is at least sufficiently bent. So one way that I do that is to make use of a hammer to hit it slightly. So I'm just going to be hitting this really slightly, not so much, but in a bit to get it, flatter. Next, I'm going to take a measurement of the tumblers, the length as well as the diameter or circumference. So my tumbler measures about 9.5 inches, but I'm going to make this about 0.2 inches shorter. That's just my preference for engraving on this tumbler. So for the length, I'm going to have that as 9.3 inches. And then now I'm going to be measuring the widest part of the tumbler. And this is 12.5. So I already set up the rotary tool, X-Tools rotary tool for S1, but I wanted to show the accessories that I used and what it looks like. So this is all set up and connected. So the next step would be for me to attach the tumbler. Designed to fit into various tumbler sizes, you're able to, just by rotating this tip here, expand or contract the chalk as you would like, or as it would be able to fit your tumbler to hold it in place. And then I like to make sure that there's a bit of spacing between the chalk and the tumbler. This just helps when I need to tighten the tumbler in place. Next, I'm going to be taking this into the lacer bed. So I have the rotary device placed in the lacer machine now, and then I'm going to be connecting the cable towards the edge here. There's a little silicone lead that's an outlet to where you have to connect the cable. So that's what I'm doing here now. Once that's connected, I want to take the other part of the rotary tool and place that at the base right here. It serves as the support for the end of the tumbler, and then just want to make sure that this rotates, and if you notice that the wheels as well are rotating. And then you would also want to tighten the rotary tool at the edge here. Next, I'm going to be checking to see that this is leveled. If there's a case of it not being properly leveled, then we're going to have variations in the depth of engraving across the tumbler, and we don't want to have that. So now that I'm done with that, I need to measure the distance from the highest point on the tumbler. And what I like to do is just move this across these two prongs to be sure that the lacer isn't hitting or touching the two prongs. And that this moves freely, so that's good. So just before closing the lid, I wanted to show what this is. So the laser is going to do all the work of calculating the distance, and it does that with this prong here. So I've got the crosshairs at the highest point of the tumbler. So when I measure the distance, you want to measure the distance at the highest point of the tumbler. So I bought this SVG file from Etsy and I just imported it into Exo's Creative Space. And then the first thing we want to check is that the file is a compound vector file. This just means that all the individual elements are combined as one. And this reduces, well, that's my understanding. I've never tried it, that this reduces the engraving time significantly. So if your file comes as an SVG that is not a compound vector, you'd be able to tell in the creative space, when you look on the right hand side over here, you would find that there are options combine, unite, um, subtract, and all the other options. So what you want to select here would be combine, which would be this. And then you would notice that the software um, throws a pop-up that says effect generating. So this takes about 7 minutes. So to save time, I'm just gonna go to another this design that I already set up previously, and I'll be showing the settings that I use for the engraving. So this I already made as a compound vector. You would notice that the software recognizes the image as one rather than individual elements like we had in the other image. So once that's done, coming to this on the right hand side, want to select out of the box. That's just selecting outside of this is selecting the image. Then want to deselect the image, and then we're going to be calculating the distance um, from the software. This is just calculating the highest points, like I mentioned earlier, of the tumbler um, in the laser bed. Just select the auto measure tool, and the listener is gonna do what he has to do. So, all right. So the distance is measured, and then I want to check that I have the perimeter right. I already set this to 12.5, but I'll clear it out just so we see what happens, and then select 12.5, and then the software automatically calculates the diameter. Next, you want to ensure that the mode is set as use rotary attachment, and then I'm going to select the image again. And so for my easy set panel settings, I have the set as power of 85, speed of 350, passes 1, lines per centimeter 100, engraving mode bidirectional. So I just wanted to say that I've also tried this at power of 80 as well as 90 and the same speed. And I didn't notice much of a difference, so I stuck with the median value of 85. So once that's done, I also wanted to mention that for the width, put in the parameters that we measured earlier on. So for the width, I've got it at 9.3 inches and the height is 12.5 inches. The next step would be to proceed with framing, and would see what that looks like in the next video. So basically, framing is just sort of aligning the placement of the image on the tumbler in X tools, sorry, in the laser. So, so after a couple of adjustments to ensure that the tumbler is properly framed for the engraving, this is what I have. So it's gonna start engraving from this point, and then it's not gonna go past this edge as well as the base here. That's what you want to achieve. So whatever, you need to look at what your design elements would look like, where it's starting. If you have a particular element you would like to not be cut in the handle section, then you'd align that properly while you're framing. Before starting, I got the X2's fire assist, I believe that's what it's called, as well as I've got the air assist over there. I'm just going to turn this on and then I'll click the start button. There's also a purifier tool behind the table. And it's all done. So I'm just gonna use the little tool here to loosen the bolts. So I'm able to bring out the tumbler. And this is what it usually looks like when you're done. I'm going to go clean this up. So after giving it a good wash, this is what it looks like. I love how this came out. The detailing, it's very detailed. The engraving came out really good. The settings were just perfect. The length that I had reduced from 9.5 to 9.3 inches still came out just at the edge as well as at the edge, yeah. So I don't know what the rationale is, but I found that reducing the length works perfectly. And then, yeah, this is what we have. So I always forget to mention my name at the start of the video, but my name is Yeti. If you like what you've seen so far, please like, comment, subscribe, share, and watch out for my next video. Bye.